ready to start being visible? My name is Mildred Talabi. I have spent the past decade plus mastering the art of personal branding in my career as a former journalist, PR and communications professional, and in my business, which has taken on various forms over the years. I now spend my time championing and coaching women to increase their influence, their income, and their impact through being visible on platforms like LinkedIn and beyond.
I would not have met all these wonderful women had I kept hiding, had I not decided to be visible. Being visible has also made me, what's the word, stand in my voice.
In the Start Being Visible podcast, I am going to be sharing with you my insights into the journey of being visible, as well as bringing you amazing, candid conversations from women in the professional world, in the business world, who have decided to step out of the shadows and into the limelight in their own work lives.
I think when I first started this, being visible was quite a scary thing for me because I get a bit scared about the criticism. We've had a conversation about this on, you might not remember, but when I first started following you, I remember messaging you saying, I'm really scared about the old white men on LinkedIn telling me to get off LinkedIn. And I still have that underlying fear, but it's getting less and less the more I do.
You are absolutely going to love this podcast. We are going to explore the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of being visible so that you can be equipped with the courage, the knowledge, and the resources to start being visible in your own life.
Visibility is just showing up as my unique, authentic self and using my voice, to share who I am and what I do, and to speak directly to my ideal clients and my clients.
I cannot wait to bring this to you. So I want you to hit the subscribe button wherever it is you listen to your podcast so that you never miss an episode. And I look forward to seeing you on Start Being Visible. Well, hello, and good evening, and welcome to the Start Being Visible podcast. This is a live recording of the Start Being Visible podcast, and in case you are brand new to Start Being Visible, welcome. And I'm just going to tell you in just a second what it's all about, because not only am I doing this season of the podcast live on LinkedIn, I'm also going live on Instagram for the very first time ever. So if you're watching this on Instagram, I really need to know that it's reaching you okay. So say hello and let me know in the comments. And if you're tuning in from LinkedIn, hello and welcome. Let me know in the comments who you are, where you are tuning in from, what part of the world you're in, because we are getting ready to have a good time tonight. Well, tonight here in the UK, it might be a different time wherever you are in the world. So welcome. Now, if you're listening to this on the podcast, so which means you're not watching it live on LinkedIn on the day that is being recorded, and you're listening to it afterwards on the podcast, I also want to welcome you, and I want to invite you to get yourself over to LinkedIn so that you can join me live on this podcast for the future episodes, because the reason I decided to take this podcast live as opposed to having it pre-recorded as we did in season 1 is because I love the interaction with you guys in the comments. So I want you to get ready to interact with me in the comments, because that's the whole reason why we're doing this live. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to answer your questions. But most of all, I want you to get involved, which is why we're doing it live. So I am so grateful that you're tuning in. And if you are tuning in, like Carla, who's a first timer from New York, hello, Carla, let me know in the comments who you are and where you are tuning in from. So today we are going to be talking about 10 visibility commitments for 2024. Now, I will talk about that topic in just a moment. But as I said, in case you're new to the Start Being Visible podcast, so what this podcast is all about is it's my podcast, which I do on a weekly basis, on a seasonal basis. So season 1 began in October and we finished in December. So season 2 is starting this week and it's going to go up until the mid-March. And you're absolutely going to love it. Start Being Visible is a mix of solo episodes like this one and guest interviews with amazing women who have stepped out and are being visible in their work life. So the whole purpose and mission of this show is to inspire you, to motivate you, and to equip you with the tools and resources that you need to start your own journey to being visible, whether that's on LinkedIn, which is my primary platform, or beyond. But the whole idea is we don't want you hiding anymore. I don't want you hiding anymore. You've got too much brilliance to stay hidden. So I want you to start being visible. And this podcast is your guide to make that happen. So part of being visible is to show up in the comments. So say hello in the comments. Let me know where in the world you are, because I know people listen to this all across the world, like Maxine, who's in Toronto. Hi, Maxine. Good to see you. So let's get into the topic for today's session. We are talking about the 10 visibility commitments that you should think about making for 2024. Now, there's a very good reason why I said visibility commitments as opposed to goals. Now, I know this is the beginning of the year, and around this time of the year, everybody's making goals, everybody's doing resolutions, everybody has said, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to start doing this, and it's all great. I am a recovering goal setter. I'm a recovering goal setter, right? In terms of for years and years, and I've actually got a video coming out about this week on LinkedIn, but for years and years, I made goals, right? And I'm a high achiever by nature. So there were never small goals, they're big, fat, massive goals, right? And the disappointment of not hitting those goals, I can't tell you, it's just hard, So, but I realized that there's a shift in the word. Goals is kind of, the words matter, and the way you frame things and the words that you use to describe things really make a difference. So goals is kind of like, well, for me anyway, when I think about goals, it tends to be this kind of big, lofty thing that you aim towards. So you're aiming and not necessarily always planning to hit, but you're aiming towards something. So for me, that's kind of like a goal. So when I came to this topic for today, I said, these are not goals that I want you to aim at. These are commitments that I want you to make. Now, the difference between a goal and a commitment is that commitment is something that you've decided to do. It's something that you said, I am going to do this thing, come rain or shine, I am going to commit to this. So you can, for example, commit to exercise. You can commit to being a parent. If you have kids, you can commit to being a wife or a husband if you've got a spouse, So you can make those kind of commitments. You can also commit to your visibility. So if you don't know the story of how I started my own journey to visibility, I'll give you a very quick snapshot of it. And it started about this time, 4 years ago in 2020, when I made the commitment to start using LinkedIn as the platform to build my visibility. So that meant that I purposely went from somebody who kind of showed up on a platform as and when I wanted and relied on being, spontaneous, all that kind of thing, to being really intentional and committed to building my brand and being visible on LinkedIn. And when I did that, when I made that commitment, things changed. It was absolutely brilliant. Like the impact showing up in that way made on my business, on my professional life, in my personal life even, was absolutely amazing in the 4 years. So many things have happened, but I can sum it all up by saying that I was able to increase my influence, my income, and my impact through committing to being visible on LinkedIn. So this is why I wanted to talk to you today about the commitments, the 10 commitments that you should consider making for 2024 if being visible is your goal. Now, originally, I was going to do 12 because there's 12 months in a year and you can have one a month. But I think these 10 are plenty enough to give you what to do. If you decide to join with me and make this commitment, you will have more than enough to do for 2024. But also, at the other end of it, you're going to look back and say, wow, this was the year that I became visible. And you're going to be so grateful that you made that decision and you committed to it. So we're going to get into it. Melissa, good to see you from Ottawa, Canada. Good to see you, Georgina. And good to see. I've got quite a few LinkedIn users who I can't see your name for some reason. It's just telling me LinkedIn users. But hello. Good to have you here with us. All right. So the first of the 10 commitments that we're going to talk about, 10 visibility commitments for 2024. The very first one is the simple one. It's an easy one to get started with, but simple is a good, so that is good so that you can get the momentum to carry on. So the very first commitment for your visibility in 2024 is, number one, make the decision to start being visible. Make the decision. Now, as long as you are kind of like, yeah, well, I would like to, but well, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I've got time to, start using LinkedIn or Beaver. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm a bit scared, or, it's going to be hard. As long as you're kind of oohing and ahhing about it, right? You're not going to move forward. That's the truth. Whatever area it is that you're oohing and ahhing about, you are not going to move forward in. So if you really want to move forward in something, the very first place to start is to make a decision. Now, the root word for decision, I believe is Latin, actually means to cut away. So when you decide, you're cutting away all other options. So imagine you're having that classic battle on a Friday night with your family. Okay, what we're going to have tonight for takeaway? Is it going to be Chinese? Is it going to be Indian? Is it going to be fish and chips? Whatever, right? So whichever one you decide means that the other options are no longer on the table. In the same way, the starting place for your commitment to your visibility for 2024 has to be you making a decision that you are going to be visible. When you make that decision, you cut away all other possibilities. So now you're all in. You're all in. And as I said at the beginning, this is how I started. I decided that I was going to go all in on LinkedIn. I was going to go all in on being visible. And I joined them. I paid for and joined a 30-day LinkedIn challenge, which had us every single day for 30 days. We had to show up on LinkedIn with content, that we had to be visible. And I'm telling you, it was hard, but I did it and I kept it not only for those 30 days, but since then, 4 years counting, I posted every single day on LinkedIn. I've showed up every single day on LinkedIn and every single weekday and some weekends too, and it all started with making that decision to be visible on LinkedIn. So that's the starting place. Number one commitment, make the decision to start being visible. If you are going to make that, is that an easy one to start with? If you're going to make that decision, I want you to let me know right now. So type in the comments, yes, Mildred, I have decided. Type it however you want to put it. I have decided. Type it in the comments if you've decided to make the decision to start being visible. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, just say it out loud to yourself, right? Pretend I'm hearing you. Like, just say, I have decided, because that's the very first place that we're going to start with. So if you have decided, say, yes, Mildred, I have decided, and put that in the comments right now. Carl, yes, thank you. It comes from the Latin word kadir. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Kadir. I think that's how you say it, right? Which means to cut. So Carl is coming with the teaching because he's an educator on where the root word of decision comes from. But either way, it means you're cutting off all possibilities by deciding. So yes, I see you. Jennifer has decided. Michelle has decided. Thank you for the LinkedIn user who says great wisdom. Thank you very much. Georgina has decided. Awesome. I love it. So we're making progress already. So number one commitment to decide, and we're making that decision already. So number two of the 10 visibility commitments for 2024 that you want to make is this. You want to pick a platform. Pick a platform. If you're going to start being visible, you're going to need a platform to do it on. In this day and age that we live in, you absolutely cannot avoid social media. Okay, let me rephrase that. it's going to be very difficult to carry out life in a very regular way if you try to avoid social media, because it is part and parcel these days of how we just do life, you know. So what you want to do once you've made a decision to start being visible, you want to pick a platform where you're going to be visible. And the reason I say pick a platform is some people make the mistake of trying to be everywhere at the same time. So you're trying to do LinkedIn and you're trying to do Instagram and you're doing Facebook too, and you've managed to find time to post silly videos on TikTok, and you're trying to do Twitter or X, whatever it's called these days. Who cares, right? Because I ain't on that platform, you know. So you're trying to do it all, and you are burning yourself out. Not only that, you're spreading yourself so thin, you are getting zero to very little return on investment on any of the platform. That is not a good way to use your time, use your energy, right? So what you want to do is pick a platform for your visibility for this year. So if you say to yourself, okay, this year I am going to master LinkedIn. That means for the rest of the year, at least for a significant part of the year, right, until you've mastered LinkedIn, and I'll give it at least 3 to 6 months on one platform. If you truly want to master something, 3 to 6 months of consistency on that same platform. Then you can add another one if you really want to. But focus on one platform as your main platform for visibility this year. I am very positively biased towards LinkedIn because I have been on all the other platforms across all the years at some point for a length of time, which is why you can find me on all of them, YouTube, etc. You know, except I closed down I didn't close down my Twitter account. I just don't use it, you know, because it's just, it got worse a long time ago, way before Elon Musk. But anyway, so I have had a season on all the different platforms, and I can tell you that LinkedIn, if you are a professional, LinkedIn is the best of all these platforms for you to concentrate your time, energy, and effort on. And another advantage that LinkedIn has compared to a lot of these other platforms as well is that it's still very possible to get good organic reach on LinkedIn without having to pay to play. That means that if you decide to start being visible on LinkedIn and putting yourself out there and putting content out there, it is possible for you to build an audience who are interested in what you have to say, you know, and you don't have to do silly pointing videos for it. I'm sorry, my Instagram though, because I know this is streaming on Instagram too, right? So if I'm offended and hurting any feelings, please forgive me, right? But you can show up on LinkedIn with yourself, your professional self, your personal self. You can just show up on LinkedIn, and in this platform, you will find an audience. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn Live, you may have already chosen LinkedIn anyway. But in case you haven't, you don't have to choose LinkedIn. It doesn't matter to me what you choose, but just decide on one core platform for 2024. Do not spread yourself thin trying to be everywhere at the same time. You know, so as I said, I am on all these other platforms, but don't tell them, but I feed them my LinkedIn scraps. So I actually create content for LinkedIn, and then I just put it out on other places as and when I need to, right? So that's a commitment that I want you to make right now. So I want to know from you, do you have a main platform? Do you have a preferred platform? Type what it is in the comments right now so that I know what platform that you've chosen as your main platform. And if you're listening on the podcast, then again, say it out loud. What's your main platform, right? Or even feel free to come and find me on LinkedIn and tell me afterwards. But let me know in the comments what your main platform is and whether that's the platform that you're going to continue to focus on for 2024 or whether you're going to try another one. You know, so remember, commitment number 1 is we make the decision to start being visible. Commitment number 2 is you pick a platform so that you don't spread yourself too thin, so that you can have that focus, have that energy on one particular place and get a return on investment for what you're doing. So let me know what that favorite platform is for you. So I see it in the comments. I see you where Yimmi says LinkedIn, Georgina's on LinkedIn. You know, I'm guessing all the LinkedIn people will say LinkedIn, you know, which makes sense. But I've got 2 people, somebody saying Instagram and LinkedIn, but leaning more towards LinkedIn. Lean this way. LinkedIn is the better of the 2 platforms. You know, so awesome. Keep it coming in the comments. Let me know in the comments what your preferred platform is. So we're going to talk about number 3. Let's talk about number 3 now. So if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the 10 visibility commitments for 2024 that you want to be making. So we've talked about number 1 is make the decision to start being visible. Number 2 is pick a platform. Number 3 is to figure out what you want to be known for. So let's explore this a little bit. So if you want to a key visibility commitment, number three of the commitments for 2024 is to figure out what you want to be known for. Now, this is crucial because the reason that we're doing this whole visibility thing is that you want to build your personal brand. Now, all of us have a personal brand, whether or not we recognize it or not. We all have a personal brand. As the what's his name, Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy, has been quoted as saying, your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So essentially we all have something that we radiate that other people know us for, whether or not we like it or not, right? So why not be intentional about that? Why not control that narrative? And it starts with figuring out what it is that you want to be known for. How do you want other people to know you? How do you want people to think of you when you're not in a room? How do you want them to remember you? Now, when I ask this is one of the crucial questions I ask my coaching clients before I take them on as a client. I ask them, what do you want to be known for? And typically people will say, I want to be known as a good person. I want to be known as someone who made a difference and all of that. That was nice to people, that people can talk to. No, I don't mean that. That's nice. That's great. That's character stuff. And that is important. That is really important. Character trumps skills any day, right? But when I ask this question, I'm talking about in your area of expertise. In fact, what is your area of expertise and what do you want people to know you for within that area? So if I took myself as an example, for years and years and years, so I could have, when I started on this whole LinkedIn coaching journey, I could have just called myself another, I'm a LinkedIn coach, LinkedIn trainer, all of that kind of stuff. But that was not the thing that I wanted to be known for. I don't want to be known as the person who tells you about algorithms and all that. That bores me to death, right? That is not my bag, But the thing that I am passionate about in this realm is visibility, is you being seen. You being heard, you being remembered. And that's because I have a journalism and a PR background and communications background. So I understand, having worked in the field, and also having exercised this in my own business, just how important visibility is if you want to advance in your business or your career. So my whole slogan, if you like, my whole ethos, my whole direction and mission and purpose is to help women in particular to start being visible on LinkedIn and beyond. So that's what I want to be known for. I want you to, when you think of Mildred, I want you to think of the words visibility. I want you to think of being visible on LinkedIn. I want you to think of, finding the confidence to be your true self and stop hiding and start being visible, which is what my tagline says on LinkedIn, right? That's the message that I want you to think of when you think of Mildred. Mildred is going to help you to stop hiding and start being visible. Stop hiding your skills, stop hiding your excellence, stop hiding your brilliance, stop hiding all of the wonderful stuff that God created you to be, and take it out into the forefront and start being visible in order to use your gifts to help yourself and other people around you. So that's my little mission statement. What is yours? What do you want to be known for? And I know, because if you already know it, you can share with me in the comments. And if you're listening on a podcast, and you maybe take a few moments and pause and write it down and brainstorm a few thoughts around this. In fact, the new version of my book, Start Being Visible, which is coming out, I think, at some point this month. I've got it all covered in there. You can do the exercise in there. But for now, just grab yourself a piece of paper or a notepad on your phone or whatever it is that you use, and just draft out a few ideas, because it's really important that if you're going to commit to being visible, that you have a focus. So we're not just showing up on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, whatever platform you picked, because we've got nothing better to do. There's a purpose that you're building your personal brand. There's a purpose, there's a reason behind it. You building your thought leadership, if you're in a career space, is going to open doors for you for promotion, for more opportunities, for increased salary, all of that kind of stuff. As a business owner, you're going to attract more clients, you're going to attract better partnership deals. There's so much out there for you when you start being visible, but it's important that you're very clear about that purpose as you set out on this journey. So share with me in the comments if you already know what it is, what it is that you want to be known for. If you need a little bit more time to think about it, that is absolutely fine too, because I know it is one of these questions that you might have an initial answer and then you might need to come back and tweak it as you go along, but that is absolutely fine too. Okay, so thank you for the congratulations on my book, Michelle. Yes, this is actually book number 4, and well, 4.5, because it's a rewrite of a previous book, but I will let you all know more about that very, very soon. Okay, so Georgina wants to be known for influencing in leadership. Love that. Give me a bit more specifics, so what do you want to influence people to do in the leadership arena? So really kind of poke in and dig a bit deeper into that, that would be awesome. Okay, if this is helping you so far, let me know in the comments. Say, yes, Mildred, this is helping me so far, because I want to know that this is helping you, because that's my whole point of being here. I want to help you to start being visible on LinkedIn, or to continue, or to accelerate, or to do even better, right? But let's just get visible for 2024. Okay, number 4 of the 10 visibility commitments for 2024 is commit to becoming a content creator. So commit to becoming a content creator. Now, what do I mean by this? I'll be the first to tell you that so the term content creator has only really kind of become a real thing in the last few years, especially in the last year or so on LinkedIn anyway. They took their time to kind of catch up, and now they call people who post things on LinkedIn content creators, But content creator, you might think, oh, no, that's not for me. I'm not a content creator. I just post on LinkedIn. I just post on Facebook. I just post on Instagram or whatever, right? But guess what? Those posts are content. And if you created them, you are a content creator. Now, the difference is when you're making this commitment for 2024 is you want to go from doing this accidentally to doing this intentionally. I want you to intentionally become a content creator for 2024 if being visible is your goal. And the reason for this is that becoming a content creator is absolutely the way that you are going to get your thoughts and ideas out into the world. There is a lot that there is a lot that you can share with people. There's a lot of skills that you have. There's a lot of expertise. There's a lot of knowledge. If those thoughts stay in your head, it's not going to help anybody else, and it's not going to help you either, right? So some of the clients I work with that come to me, they come and they say, Mildred, it's like, and I usually work with women, senior leaders in a career space, women who've been in business, who've crossed over from, maybe they've had a long career in a certain industry and they're now doing their own business. So they've crossed over from a long time in their career sector. And one of the things that I hear most commonly is this whole thing of, Mildred, I feel like my voice has not been heard in my career. So up until this point, I feel like my voice has not been heard. There's so much that I can say. There's so much that I can contribute, but I don't feel like I've had an avenue to say it. And I've been too scared for whatever reason. There's all these different obstacles, that we face in coming out to be visible. But they get to that place where it's like, I can't keep on going like this anymore. It's almost like if I don't share, I'm going to explode, So I will tell you this, it's that there is so much that you have in you that is going to be of benefit to somebody else. And unless you make that decision to start being visible and then commit to becoming a content creator, you won't be able to maximize that to its fullest. So what's going to happen for you as you share content online publicly and on LinkedIn or wherever, and you're sharing useful content, right? Because remember, you want to be known for a particular thing. So you're going to be sharing content within that area of expertise. And then what's going to happen for you is that you will start to build an audience around that. And you will start to see that people will leave comments for you, or maybe send you messages and say, wow, that really resonated with me, or what you just described is something that I've been through, so through sharing your own life, through sharing your own journey, through sharing your skills, your expertise, what you're going to help other people to have better lives. And isn't that what we're all put on this earth to do? Not just to live for ourselves, but to collectively live for the better good of all of mankind. But if you're not being visible with your gifts, if you haven't committed to being a content creator, you're not going to be able to do that effectively. So that's one of the commitments I want you to make. Say, Mildred, I'm going to become a content creator. I'm going to start sharing content on a regular basis on social media. If you're going to make that commitment, let me know in the comments. If that sounds scary to you, let me know in the comments. If you have a question around that and you're like, Mildred, but where do I even start? Let me know in the comments, because I want to help you out on this. But I want you to know that it's not as hard and it's not as scary as you think it is. As I said at the beginning, when I did start the 30 days, I started with the commitment on LinkedIn, and I did the 30 days of postings. Yeah, sometimes it was scary and sometimes it was hard. But because I had committed to this 30-day thing, I made myself find content to put out every single day. Even if I put out content on one day and I just about got one reaction, right? That one reaction is better than nothing, Or sometimes it's crickets out there, but it's exercising that muscle of showing up and putting yourself out there. And let me tell you this, it's going to get uncomfortable at times. Sometimes you're going to not want to do it. You're not going to feel like it. You'll say, why am I doing this? But you need to do this. You need to do this for your business. You need to do this for your career. And you need to do this for the other people that you have been called to influence and impact. Okay, so if you're going to make that commitment, let me know in the comments. Jennifer says, I will try. Jennifer, we don't do try, we do. That's the thing. We don't do try, we do. That is the difference between a commitment and kind of going towards a goal. When you commit to something, it's not about trying, it's I'm going to do this no matter what. So we're not trying, we're doing. So you're going to do this. You can do this. I know you can. Where Yumi says, I'm going to be committed, but I am scared. That's okay. It's absolutely okay to be scared. I'll tell you, the first time I started doing these lives, it wasn't even by choice. I didn't say, oh, I want to start doing lives on LinkedIn. What happened was about a few months into me committing to being visible on LinkedIn, I started making videos. And for me, videos were a big, scary step, because I'm a writer by nature. I've written since I was little. I was practically born with a pen in my hand, right? So writing is default to me. And as an introvert as well, I used to hide behind my words. I can hide behind my writing, but when it comes to video, there's no hiding, because you're all up in people's faces and they can see you. So video was a big, scary thing that I had to overcome on LinkedIn, putting myself out on video. But when I eventually started doing this and I started putting out videos consistently, and I will tell you this, that these were not quality videos at all. In fact, my very first video, which I put out on LinkedIn, maybe about 2-3 minutes. I don't know. I can't even remember what I was talking about, right? But my brother, who I didn't even know was on LinkedIn, sends me a message and he's like, hey, I love that you're doing this video. It's so good, but your camera was kind of blurry, and yeah, I'm not sure about the sound quality either. I'm like, great, thanks, So that's the thing. You do not have to be perfect the first time, but what you have to do is keep on going. So I committed to that process. And then after a while of doing this, LinkedIn themselves approached me and said, Mildred, we've seen your videos. We love what you're doing out there. Would you like to go live on LinkedIn? And at the time, this the LinkedIn Live feature was like an invite-only feature that they would only give to certain people. I didn't even know they had the feature, because I wasn't interested in going live or anything like that. They said, would you like to go live? We will give you a license completely. We'll pay for StreamYard, all of that kind of stuff for a year if you would broadcast live on the platform. And before I can talk myself out of it, even I was terrified, I was like, okay, yes, let's do it. So I did. And let's say 4 years later, here I am. I absolutely love doing these lives, and it's nowhere near as scary at all. So you have got to face that thing that scares you and do it. Do it, as the saying goes, feel the fear and do it anyway. You've got this. I like that, Carl. Carl says every master was once a disaster. Oh, did you make that up? I like the rhyme in it. It will take time to get good, but you will get there. Absolutely. Some wise words there. Okay. So let's keep going. We're at the halfway point now on the 10 visibility commitments that you should think about making for 2024. I say think about making, but really, I mean, you should make. You should commit to these commitments if you're going to see them happen. So number 1, make the decision to start being visible. Number 2, pick a platform. Number 3, figure out what you want to be known for. Number 4, commit to becoming a content creator. Number 5, you have got to become intentional. You've got to become intentional. So if we're talking about becoming a content creator, that's an intentional decision. So being intentional is a commitment that I want you to make. So no more waiting for inspiration to hit you before you post. No more things like, well, I don't have, well, I didn't post today because I didn't have anything to say. I didn't show up on LinkedIn today with content because I didn't feel like it. All of that stuff. Leave it behind in 2023. We ain't doing that in 2024. We are being intentional in 2024, which means in order for you to be intentional with something, you have got to plan for it. Yeah, you've got to plan for it. You've got to schedule it. You've got to prepare for it. So if you are going to be effective as a content creator in 2024, if you are going to be effectively visible in 2024, you have to become intentional. Your motive has to be part of your focus. Schedule it if you need to in your diary. It will not happen by accident. Nobody becomes great by accident. You're not going to be the exception, so you are already great, but you have got to become intentional about that greatness so you can go to that next level and you can see it happen for 2024. So that's number 5, be intentional. Number 6 of the 10 visibility commitments for 2024 is be yourself. Be yourself. Now, I cannot emphasize this enough, just how important it is for you to be yourself. If you are going to commit to this journey of being visible, right, you have to bring your whole self along. I like to say, so that what we're doing here is you're building your personal brand, right? And the word personal brand, and as I like to say all the time, it's like you cannot build a personal brand without your personality. I'm not that clever either, I didn't say this one, but you can't build your personal brand without a personality. So you have got to be yourself and you've got to bring your whole self into the brand that you create. Now, one of the mistakes that people make, especially on LinkedIn, I haven't heard of anyone doing it on the other platforms, except actually on places like Instagram. People feel like they have to become this pointy reels person, and sometimes it looks so awkward because it's like, I know that's not you, doesn't suit you, doesn't fit you, but here you are pointing because you feel like that's what you need to do, to create a reel. Go find a platform that suits your personality. Anyway, that's my rant over. But so one of the things that people think with LinkedIn is that, LinkedIn is a professional platform, so I have to be professional. I have to put on this professional voice, which means I have to not have personality. I have to be so formal about everything. And then you're writing worse than an AI ChatGPT robot because it's not even your voice. You're stripping all the things that makes you, and then you're wondering why no one is connecting and engaging with you. Because that's not you. And we can pick that up, So you are going to attract your people when you show up as yourself. That is the truth of it. And the truth also is that you don't need to attract everybody. One of my early business coaches, she taught me this principle. She said, Mildred, don't try and reach everybody because that's not possible. It's not going to happen. You have to get comfortable with alienating in order to resonate. You have to alienate to resonate. So she said, get comfortable with alienating people who are not part of your audience in order to resonate with those who are. And part of that resonating is when you're yourself, certain people will be drawn to you and certain people, you will repel them. And that is okay. That is absolutely okay. You yourself don't like everyone. So why are you expecting everyone to like you? You know? So don't worry about that, but bring yourself to the table. Bring yourself to the table, your full self, because that is how you're going to create a unique, standout brand on LinkedIn and beyond. And that's how your visibility is going to be easy for you, because it's hard trying to be someone that you're not, and you won't be able to sustain that. You get a few weeks, maybe months into this, and you will crash and burn because you're just not showing up as yourself. And it's tiring. It is very tiring. I can tell you that. I've tried it in the past. I've tried to be an introvert that puts on an extrovert when I go out to networking events and stuff. This is years and years ago, before I knew what this whole introvert extrovert stuff meant and how I recharge my batteries and stuff. And it was a complete disaster, because it's like after a while of being someone that I'm not, I crashed and I burned, and it wasn't good for me or anybody else, you know. So I've since learned how to navigate me, and that's important. Learn how to navigate yourself, but bring yourself to this visibility table for 2024. Now, if that was an uncomfortable word for you, or if that's a liberating word for you, let me know. I want to know in the comments, did that liberate you, or did that make you feel a bit scared? Like, oh my God, I really can't. I'm so crazy. I can't bring myself to LinkedIn or to wherever, right? Because I don't know if people are going to like me, which is absolutely fine. I like you, right? We're all going to like you if we're your people, right? But let me know how that resonates in the comments. Let me know. Okay. And if you're listening to the podcast, I do hope this has truly liberated you, because this is one of the things that keep people from showing up, because they feel like they have to show up as somebody that is not themselves. So let me be the one to liberate you and let you know that we want to see you be yourself. Your personality is part of your personal brand. Yes, when Yumi is liberated, awesome. I love that. If you're liberated by that, drop it in the comments and let me know. Okay. Right, 3 more to go through in terms of the 10 visibility commitments for 2024. Georgina is liberated. Cara is scared of doing more videos, but you're committed. Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing more videos from you, Carl. And that's the thing. We've got to do these things scared. It's okay to do it scared, because after a while of doing it scared, it will eventually stop being scary. You know, it will eventually stop being scary. So, okay, let's go. Number 7 of the 10 visibility commitments for 2024 is, you should consider, no, let's rephrase that. We're not considering. You need to ignore the critics. Ignore the critics. Now, when you start being visible and you start to do it on a regular basis and you start showing up on a consistent basis, you are undoubtedly going to attract at least one critic at some point in your life. You know, at least one critic. Now, the other day on LinkedIn, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you probably would have seen the drama unfold. It wasn't even a drama, it turned into a drama, right? You know, but I put out a post talking about how, you know, I one of the skills that I have that a lot of people don't know is that I do amazing LinkedIn profile rewrites, you know, because as I mentioned, I'm a writer. That's my thing. I've written, I used to have a CV business and rewrite people's profile, all of that. And I'm like, this is one thing that I do that not a lot of people know about, because I don't publicly offer it as a service. I do it for my coaching clients, but today I'm offering it as a service, you know. And somebody somehow found reason to take offense with that post and started challenging me about everything from my experience to my pricing and all of that. And initially, I tried to have like a back and forth reasonable conversation with this person, you know, and then they just weren't having it. And I could just sense that they just wanted to fight me. And you know what? I ain't got time for that. To be quite frank, I do not have time or energy. I don't make enemies. I don't have time to argue with people who want to argue. So I kind of left it like that, like, goodbye, God bless you, go your own way type of thing, you know? So anyway, I then left LinkedIn and I responded to this person in my notes So and because when I say I responded, it was like, and this is, by the way, you can turn lemons into lemonade, right? It inspired a post for me, because I know that from the work that I do with women and helping them, coaching them to become visible on LinkedIn, one of the things that I know a lot of women are scared of is when I put myself out there, when I start being visible, someone's gonna criticize me. You know, someone's gonna think that I think I'm all that. Someone's gonna say something negative about me. So I'm just gonna keep hiding myself and stay hidden, because it's much safer to do that. You know, so when I was responding to this person in my notes afterwards, I was responding on behalf of all those women, all those voices that I've heard who were kind of like hiding because somebody like that has come out to criticize them when they've stuck their neck out. You know, and I was not having that. So I wrote this post all about how it's like I'm sorry, not sorry post, about how I'm sorry that my brilliance offends you. That's kind of like the essence of the post. Feel free to go check it out on LinkedIn. Oh, if I can get my producer to do it, I might put the link in the show notes, right? So you can check out both posts. But the long story short of this is, the criticism, I took the criticism and it turned into a post that then went on to go crazy viral, you know, in terms of engagement and people relating to it. But it's this whole thing of, whenever you put yourself out there, you are potentially always putting yourself at the risk of being criticized. But you cannot let that stop you from being visible. You know, you cannot let that stop you from being visible, in the same way that you can't let it stop you from living your life, because somebody is going to potentially criticize you. I'll tell you the truth, I've been on LinkedIn posting every single day for 4 years plus, and I can probably count on one hand, maybe two hands at the most, how many times things like that have happened. So it's not very often. But because we fear so much other people's opinion, you know, that fear of judgment can keep us hidden, you know, can keep us from really stepping out and being visible. And I want you to commit to not letting the critics hold you back this year or any year. So ignore the critics, ignore the external critics who may come. Chances are they won't, but they may come. So be prepared for that. But when they come, ignore them. Don't let that dim your light. But also ignore your own critic, because we've got this inner critic as well who whispers in our head sometimes and says, oh, that post, are you sure about putting that post out? I don't think that was very good. People might think that's a silly post. What are you on about anyway? Does it even make sense? Oh, that video, I don't know about that lighting on you. You know, I don't know if you look that great in that video. I mean, it's not as sharp, it's not as professional, you know. So that critic that we also have on the inside, you have to ignore that critic too. Probably ignore that one a lot more than the external one, because that's the one we tend to get more, you know. So ignore the critics and go ahead and start being visible. Push past the criticism in your own mind and the criticism that you might face on the outside, because the quest, your journey, your mission is far more important to let yourself be derailed. So that's number 7. Okay, right. If that's been helpful to you, has that helped somebody? Has that helped you? Has that released you from this burden of like, I don't want to be criticized? You know, we don't want to be criticized, but please, please, please don't let that hold you back from being visible. Okay, 3 more, and then we're gonna wrap it up for this episode. So let me know as we move on to the next one. Let me know if that is helpful for you. In terms of a commitment, let me know if you are going to commit. That's what I really want to know. Let me know if you're going to commit. I don't want you to try to commit. Let me know if you're going to commit to ignore the critics. Commit to that. Ignore your own critics in your head and ignore the critics externally. I see you. I see your yeses in the comments. Awesome. Keep bringing them in. Let me know if you're going to commit. Okay. Number 8 of your 10 visibility commitments for 2024 is, I'm going to run through this one real quickly because it's very much self-explanatory, and it is invest in your own growth. You have absolutely got to invest the time, energy, and finances in your own growth. Read books, go on courses, get a coach if you need to. But if you want to grow any area that you want to grow in, you have got to invest time, energy, attention, and finances into if you're going to grow. If you take a look at, I'm looking around because I'm in my office and I've got like books all around me, right? And I've got loads of books in my office, and then other parts of the house, we got loads of books. When we moved house early this year, we discovered we had like more than 500 books, print books. You know, this is not counting like all the ones on Kindle, and I didn't even count my kids' collection either that my children have. You know, but we're a book-loving family because books are a very cheap and a very inexpensive way to get knowledge that you won't otherwise have, to invest in your own knowledge, in your own growth. So read, read, read. Make 2024 the year that you read. You know, so read. Also go on courses if you need to, do some coaches, whatever you need to do to invest in your own growth, because any investment you make into yourself is going to pay you back in the person that you become in the process. You know, that's the whole that's the whole topic for another podcast episode. But invest in your own growth. That's a commitment that I want you to make. Invest, do what's necessary to get to where you want to go in life. Okay? If you're going to commit to that, let me know in the comments. Right. Number 9, and then we're gonna do number 10. Number 9 is my favorite. And I actually touched on it a little bit, but number 9 is if you are going to if you're going to start being visible for 2024, increase your visibility in 2024, number 9 commitment that you should definitely make is to say yes to opportunities that you don't feel ready for. Say yes to opportunities that you don't feel ready for. I told you earlier about how I said yes when LinkedIn came calling to say, do you want to do LinkedIn Live? I was not ready to do LinkedIn Live at all, but I said yes, and it's been a massive blessing to my life. So there's so many other things that I have said yes to without feeling ready for. And I did a post about this a few months ago, but I've said yes to without feeling ready for, that has been absolutely revolutionary in my professional life and my personal life. And I absolutely encourage you to do the same this year. It's much better that you say yes and figure it out than you say no and regret and kick yourself afterwards like, man, I wish I'd done that. Because for every yes that you say, it has the potential to take your life in a better direction if it's a good yes that you're saying yes to. You know, so every one of those yeses can take your life in a better place. And the only way you're going to know where it can take you is by saying yes. So don't wait until you're ready. Say yes and then get ready. You know, the readiness will come. It will follow your mouth once you said yes. So if you're going to say yes to this commitment, let me know in the comments by saying yes in the comments. Saying yes. Let me know. Yes, Mildred, I'm going to commit to saying yes even before I am ready. Say yes to opportunities this year. Say yes to showing up on LinkedIn and posting. If someone invites you on their podcast this year, say yes. You know, if someone invites you to do a speaking engagement this year and you're terrified, say yes. You know, if you get the idea to write a book this year and the idea scares you, say yes. You know, say yes, say yes, say yes. Your life will change with those three-letter word, yes, yes, yes. So say yes. Okay, I see your yeses in the comments. Keep them coming. Keep them coming if you are going to say yes to that commitment. And so the very final one, and then we'll do a quick recap for 1 to 10, but the very final one of the 10 visibility commitments that you want to be making for 2024 is just as easy as the first one. I wanted to end it nicely. And that is this: don't give up. Don't give up. I have a saying that's kind of like the tagline for my Visible Women Tribe, you know, and it's this: the best opportunities come to those who are visible. Don't give up. If you continue along this pathway, you can let this episode be your marker, right? I promise you that if you commit to the 10 commitments that we've talked about today, and you're consistent and you follow through on it, 1 year from now, you know, or even forget 1 year from now, on the 31st of December, right? Whenever it is you do your review of the year, you're going to look back on this year and you're going to be amazed at just how much your life has transformed through making this commitment, these commitments that we spoke about to be invisible this year. You are going to look back and say, my God, I cannot believe that so much has happened since that initial time today, the 10th of January, if you're listening to this live on the day that is being recorded live, to the 31st of December 2024. You're going to marvel at just how much your life has changed. How do I know? Because that's what happened to me. You know, the 1st of January 2020 is when I made that decision to start being visible on LinkedIn. And then when I look back at that year, it was one of the most transformational years of my entire life. You know, and it all started with that commitment, that decision to start being visible on LinkedIn. And I know that the same is possible for you, which is why I wanted to kick off the season of this podcast with this. So if you can start now by making these commitments, you're going to end the year great, you know. And so I'm rooting for you, and I want you to win. I want you to win 2024. So those 10 commitments. Number 1, make the decision to start being visible. Number 2, pick a platform. Number 3, figure out what you want to be known for. Number 4, commit to becoming a content creator. Number 5, be intentional. Number 6, be yourself. Number 7, ignore the critics. Number 8, invest in your own growth. Number 9, say yes to opportunities you don't feel ready for. And then lastly, number 10 of the 10 visibility commitments, don't give up, because the best opportunities come to those who are visible. So that is it for today's episode. Now, if you have got anything from today's episode, I would love to hear from you. I want to know your key takeaway in the comments. I want to know what resonated with you most in the comments. I want to know what you're committing to in the comments, because I want to see you win this year. And everybody else that's tuned in, you know, we're all working in this together, right? We're rooting for each other. So if you're watching this live on LinkedIn and you're in the comments, connect with each other, you know, because you're on this journey. And I'm telling you, it's a beautiful journey when you do it with a community. And I tend to attract a really awesome group of women and some guys. I'm some guys too, you know, in my community. So feel free to connect with each other in the comments. And if you're listening to this on podcast and you haven't joined us live on LinkedIn, please do so. Next Wednesday, we record this live. Every Wednesday, I'm going to be here at 6 o'clock UK time. And I want you to come and join me as we do live podcast, the live recording of the podcast. Next episode, I am going to have a guest with me. I am excited to have this guest on because she has a lot of awesome. I love her personality on LinkedIn. She's a fiery one. I'm not going to give away too much, but you're going to want to hear this. You're going to want to hear how to just kind of how this lady went from, you know, sort of struggling, you know, to find her voice and find her place, to really kind of owning her voice and bossing LinkedIn and this visibility thing that we're talking about. So make sure you join me back here next Wednesday, 6 o'clock, live on LinkedIn for the live recording of the podcast. You know, and if you're listening to the podcast, you get it maybe a day or two later once we've done all the edits and stuff. But I am so glad that you joined in today. I can see all the commitments coming in the comments. So congratulations to everybody who is committing to everything today. I am proud of you and I'm rooting for you, and I'm excited to celebrate with you when we get there. If you have enjoyed this recording, please spread the word. Tell somebody else. Tell someone to tell someone, and subscribe via the podcast. And just meet me back here next Wednesday and be with me for this entire season. We do 10 episodes per season. So at least for the next 10 weeks, don't book anything else in your diary at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, because you're going to be right here with me on this journey to start being visible. So with that, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you back here next week.